Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about seniors and comments. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, as a lead software engineer, how do you deal with a senior software engineer who has a good learning attitude for whom you have to provide a lot of code review comments? The same way I treat a junior, I suppose. Learning attitude and like wanting to learn more and having enthusiasm. These are very positive things. The thing that I usually look at is what does this person need to learn, and are we able to help them bridge the gap basically between what they need to learn and uh, what's necessary to get them autonomous, because like ultimately that is the goal of any onboarding process or any like when you provide comments and so forth. And so it's really, and this is sort of something that always sticks with you guys. There's always this expectation on you, even as a junior software developer. If you get a lot of comments, like usually you're a little bit more, it's more forgivable, because I mean comments is a difficult thing, right? If it's just things like, oh please add a few tests here or change a few names there or something like that, that's not like that's common practice. Like it happens for everybody for probably the rest of your career. It's gonna keep on happening. The main thing I usually have a look at is what is the nature of those comments. If it's more serious stuff, if you continuously see someone underperforming, that's a different story. And that happens both with juniors all the way up to like seniors. Juniors are, or in this case, a little bit more lucky because usually people have more tolerance for that juniors are not able to solve their own problems, or like they continuously have like issues shipping stories or things like that. It becomes less forgivable the more senior you become, and when you're at the higher levels, when you're like supposed to be a real senior, it's very rare that companies have a tolerance for seniors who don't really know what they're doing, even if they have a good learning attitude. I mean, the best thing with this, if you have a good, like the best seniors are, open to taking on responsibilities, and like they will go the extra mile and learn about tools or practices and really understand the process so that they can help others and so forth. And they usually, they adopt and they pick up things that, because everybody's new. Every time you start in a new team, it's something new. Like I've done this many times as well, guys, where you start in a new team and it doesn't matter how senior you are, because you don't know how the system is built, you don't know how the domain works, you don't know any of this sort of stuff. So you have to be taught these sorts of things. But the difference is like, are you always in trouble, or can't you really learn this stuff, right? Or is it a matter of that you get taught these things and then you sort of learn how to work on your own? That's the thing that you're looking that I look for, and I will argue most companies are looking for as well. That so for a junior, the time it takes for them to get productive is maybe expected to be a little bit longer. For seniors, it's shorter. And so that's the thing that I look for when I look at comments. If I continuously see that this person is unproductive or doesn't really know how to ship code in a professional manner, which happens, guys, more than you would think. As I've said many times before, the term senior basically just means that you have been working for X amount of years. It doesn't say anything about how good this person is whatsoever. It's supposed to, but it really doesn't, in my experience. It's really just yeah. I have so many interviews and so many like people that I've worked with, and many instances where it's been the case, and it's still happening today, where you have teams that are mismanaged by quote unquote seniors, to the point where my manager comes and asks, basically relocates me to that team to take the lead position so that we can fix these sorts of issues. And that is a recurring thing, guys, and you're probably going to see some similar things throughout your career, because the quality of people really is, in some cases it can vastly differ. And so that's usually the thing that you should focus on, less on like seniority and more on what is the quality of the work that is being produced. So what I want you to take away from this is that at least I do this when I have the lead position and I have a senior that has a need for a lot of code comments and so forth. You take a look at the nature of the comments, and if it's usually small stuff or like they're trying to learn the domain or things like this that's sort of out of their control to learn and to know, you just try to be supportive and try to help. That's always like, that's my default. As I said, you treat them like a junior. It's no different. You're trying to teach somebody else how to do something, and so it's very important that you create a nice connection with the person so they feel comfortable feeling a little bit stupid in your presence, because for some people it's difficult to ask for help or so forth and so forth, and it's important, if you want them to succeed, that you provide that support, assuming now of course that you have that information and so forth. But being supportive is a very important step in order to make sure that the nature of the issues that they have goes away, and like the only thing that sort of remains is a person who sort of understands how all of this sort of work, and maybe you have a few comments about the coding styles or something like that, but overall it's good code, right? It's because, as I've said guys before, you're never probably going to like consistently ship code without ever getting any comments. Everybody gets comments, I get comments, everybody gets comments. But if it turns out that the comments are often like over time you see that this person isn't really getting it, like they're not really able to ship in a timely manner, and like they're usually facing a lot of issues that are supposed to be obvious, like they don't retain any information you teach them, or you don't get any like real value out of them, then usually the thing you have to do is to ask whether or not they are the sort of senior, because as I said, your senior is like a nothing term to me these days. Do they have the skills to be there, yes or no? And if that becomes the question, you basically take that up with the manager or someone like that, and take it from there. That's at least how I usually take care of these sorts of things, and it's unfortunate, but sometimes you have to sort of understand, guys, that having a great attitude and being open to learn, that's a very good foundation, and that should be rewarded. But there are also expectations on results, because a nice attitude is not going to help your company if you don't have the skills and they don't have the time, or like they need you to produce and you can't, then you can't continue the relationship, because then there's not going to be a company, or like you're basically going to lose a bunch of money and still lose your job. So it's a balancing act between how long can things take, and how long does this individual have, how fast do they learn. Like that's basically what it comes down to. If they can meet the expectations, it's all good. Have a great day.